Hello, and welcome to 6 Degrees from Cannabis. I'm your host, Tori Rerick, PharmD and holistic healer. Each episode features a candid conversation about how connecting with the cannabis plant has enhanced an individual's wellness journey. Here to honor the plant, talk about healing, and have fun. The motto for today's conversation is knowledge is power. Amanda shares how she navigated getting access to an Illinois medical card while having one foot in the cannabis industry and another foot in the healthcare world. This seemingly dualistic perspective gave her an advantage to be a portal for the people to heal in her community. With so much packed into this episode, we talk about what it means to be a budtender, training for the position, representation within the industry, and discussing cannabis safety with your kids. Keep listening if you're in support of taking away the scary boogeyman side of cannabis and instead, as Amanda puts it, loving cannabis as well as she loves you. Let's go to the show. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we have on Amanda Cruz, who was born and raised in Chicago's Little Village area. Amanda began her career in healthcare. As a CNA, Amanda saw the need for more holistic treatment in the medical field. In 2016, she became one of the first budtenders at MOCA, Modern Cannabis Logan Square. Seeing firsthand how patients in her community struggled to gain access to medical cannabis, Amanda decided to take action. She began to advocate for medical cannabis throughout Chicago, hosting monthly Get a Card educational events for veterans and speaking to everyone in need of a medical cannabis card. As a cannabis consultant for Neuromedici by Dr. Consulter, she helped many medical cannabis patients with cannabis regimen and product recommendations. She has recently become a member of the GTI Grows social media team as a customer service representative. Amanda Cruz, founder of Flores de Familia, a cannabis consultant and education business. Flores de Familia aims to assist all communities be empowered by cannabis through education. Amanda is proud to be an advocate in the Illinois cannabis community. Some fun facts about Amanda: she's a proud canna mom of 2 beautiful humans. Her oldest is a freshman in the Naval Academy and youngest is in 3rd grade. Amanda loves to dance. She started dancing with the Najwa Dance Corp Junior Corp at 7 years old. Her favorite dance styles are African salsa and hip hop. Amanda has been an Illinois medical cannabis patient since 2016. And with that, welcome, Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just before we jumped on this call, I was sharing with Amanda how excited I am to virtually meet her, how I've been seeking to have a budtender perspective on the show. And once I recognized everything that Amanda brought to this career, I knew you were the one that I wanted to hear about. So this is so incredible.
That is amazing. My heart is smiling. That is so awesome. And thank you. Thank you again for giving, people in the cannabis community, budtenders, people of color, women, the voice, to be heard. I think there's a lot of perspectives that are a little slanted when it comes to the cannabis world. So I'm gonna, give mine.
Yeah, let's hear it. Okay, so the first thing I like to do with our guest is pull a card from my highly inspired Oracle deck. It's called the Follow Your Heart Oracle deck. Cannabis was the muse for it. So the card I pulled is Open Channel, and it's a picture of a door, and there's some sparkly entities on the other side. And so I'd love to hear from your perspective how cannabis has supported your ability to be an open channel, what that means to you.
Ooh, that's a big one. Well, for myself, finding myself in the cannabis industry very early, I was one of the first budtenders that worked at Mocha Modern Cannabis when they opened. So I became that portal for a lot of people to heal and to gain access to medical cannabis. But before I could be that portal, I had to go through it myself. I had to walk myself through it and to see what was on the other side. Am I gonna walk the walk as I talk the talk? So um that's what cannabis has been to me, being not only an open portal for health, but for business, for
Mm-hmm.
financial, benefits for myself and my children, and as well as a way of healing myself, healing my community. So change is hard. I struggle with that. So
Mm-hmm.
walking through a door, that means you're changing. You
Mm-hmm.
have to change your space. You're changing your environment. So to know that there's glitter on the other side or cannabis is always great. It's always a plus to enjoy
Yes.
the process and enjoy those changes.
That's so beautiful. And the openness, that really speaks to it though. And
Yes.
cannabis does just open you up.
Yes.
And that's where like the mindfulness and intention comes in, because you just bloom when you are within the spirit and like connecting with the spirit. And I think it's such a beautiful thing how
Mhm.
you kept going, because in this world, it's like, okay, I got mine. I'm good. I got mine. And you were like, okay, how do I help more
No.
people?
Yeah, no, me is not enough. What's the use of me having this knowledge, or what's the use of me feeling better if my coworker feels like crap?
Mm-hmm.
If my family member is hurting, if my community is crying out because of the opioid epidemic? Who
Yeah.
am I? I am a part of this world. I'm a part of this environment. And the only way that I can thrive is when my environment is doing so. So if I can help my mother with her knee pain, if I can help my brother, my sister, my friends, even my enemies, you know,
Mm-hmm.
this plant can heal so much. Who am I to hold it to myself, you know?
Word. I hear you loud and clear. Okay, Amanda. So, what was your original perception of cannabis, and has it shifted? Take us back.
Ooh. Yeah, so I'm gonna take you back. Let's say Southside Chicago, let's say early 90s. Okay, so I was a kid growing up seeing what the war on drugs did to my community, and the raids, and how the DARE program like programmed us so young to look like at marijuana, at weed, at pot in a way that was harmful and hurtful to our community, that was so bad that you smoke a joint, you're gonna smoke crack next.
Mm-hmm.
It's so it was very scary for me as a kid. And on the flip side of that, as a kid, my abuelita was making her own cannabis salves and topicals because of her knee issues, and she had, health problems. And I knew in my family that my grandmother was great. My grandmother is awesome. She helped raise me, mi abuelita, but they're saying this is bad, and she's doing all this good. So I
Mm-hmm.
took both of that and, sat with it for a lot of years. And then as I grew up and as I learned, and, the history of cannabis, and how it has been a very valid and point in my life and my community and my history and mi cultura, I understand that cannabis is medicine.
Yes.
Cannabis has helped many people throughout their lives. And my perception as a child has very much shifted to the point where now I'm introducing other parents to talk to their children about it, so that kids, and my kids are very aware of my cannabis use, because I want them to know what the difference of it is, and to understand how cannabis can help and heal. And if you learn safety, if you learn it properly, I feel like as an adult, it wouldn't have took me so long to turn to this plant as medicine, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to alcohol, as opposed to toxic relationships, and things that were harmful to me. I should have been looking at cannabis as medicine. So yeah, my views have definitely changed, not only through my experiences, but through knowledge and through education.
Incredible.
Mhm.
I love to hear this. It's just
Yes.
a testimony for the
Yes.
plan. And I just can't imagine how confusing it would be to reconcile the sweetness of your grandma and seeing her feel better and feel good, and then the dichotomy of learning in school, this having this demonization of
Yeah.
the plant filter through your head.
Yeah. So as a kid, it was definitely, seeing both sides was good because you can kind of understand both perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
from law enforcement, authority figures, whatever that case may be. But, to me, because the relationship with my abuela was so deep and also understanding why it was, I mean, that really helped and spoke to why I'm so open about cannabis now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
So how does the plant serve you?
Ooh, the plant serves me in many ways. She is female, and you
Mm-hmm.
gotta love her as well as she loves you. So for me, like you said in my intro, I've been a medical cannabis patient since 2016. I suffer with a lot of women productive medical issues. So I struggle with trying to not take any pharmaceutical medication for that.
Mm-hmm.
So on a regular basis, I'm using cannabis daily. Not only just for pain, but also to uplift my spirit when I'm feeling down. I mean, we've all are, going through things in our life, and the pandemic did not help anything at all with stress and anxiety, all that rolled into one. So she serves me on a daily basis, and I totally enjoy the benefits, whether it is sleep, whether it's energy, whether it's a fitness workout. With cannabis, I feel very much whole and taken care of in many
Mm-hmm.
aspects. So she serves me well.
That's really sweet. Yeah, she is that mother figure holding
Definitely.
us through whatever we're experiencing. And I'm so glad that you've found relief with this plant. What was the experience like for you getting a card and moving into this territory of figuring out your relationship with the plant?
Yeah, well, 2016, getting a medical card in Illinois was a laborious task.
Mm-hmm.
You had to get paperwork. No one has a printer, so that was half the battle. And you had to get fingerprinted,
Wow.
which was for me not a very tough thing to do, not a hard thing, because I was at the time a budtender. So I had already been fingerprinted. So I knew that that wasn't going to be an issue to become a patient. But fact of the matter is that you don't want to disclose all of your information.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I was working one foot in the cannabis industry and one foot in the healthcare world. I was working in a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So I have licenses. I was a certified nursing assistant. I am a certified nursing assistant and working in the emergency room. And I was very scared that my license to work my full-time job, because cannabis was at the time my part-time job, was
Mm-hmm.
going to be affected.
Definitely.
The license would ding that I was going to get licensed. So that I hadn't even started the process. I had to go and speak to Illinois Department of Public Health, which everybody knows is really hard to get on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sending emails back and forth just to get relief, just to
Mm-hmm.
feel better. I haven't even started the program. And then there are fees associated. You had to see your doctor. So the process was tough. And then waiting for your card, I waited 90 days for my physical medical cannabis card from the Illinois State of Department of Health.
Wow.
90 days. So they don't care if, at the time, they didn't care if you were, ill, if you weren't feeling well, if they received it the same day or whatever. No, you had to wait 90 days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
that is very painful for a patient to have to wait, knowing that you've already had everything cleared and everything's fine, but you still have to wait.
What did they have a logical reasoning for that? I mean, it's not logical, but I
No,
mean, like, what
no.
what are these?
So the reasoning behind that, and again, this is in 2016.
Right.
The state was very limited in who they had working in the Department of Medical Cannabis. So processing applications, everything was through snail mail.
Wow.
As well as the physical cards that all Illinois medical patients received were not made or issued actually in Illinois.
Wow.
They were sourced from out of state. I want to say East Coast, either Florida or North Carolina, one of those, but I would be wrong in giving that information. But yeah, so we had to wait 90 days to be processed, make sure all your paperwork was right, and then to receive your card to be able to go to a dispensary.
Okay, so how have things shifted? What's the process like now?
Yeah, so the process is very different now. Thankfully, technology helps us a lot. Now, a lot of medical cannabis patients can see a physician, healthcare provider, to get certified through telemedicine. So it can be through, a phone call, it can be through Zoom calls, and they're able to speak to their healthcare provider to get certified for medical cannabis. With the pandemic, the state has continued that because a lot of healthcare providers are dealing with, COVID-19 patients, and a lot of medical cannabis patients have compromised immune systems and pre-existing healthcare issues. So asking a medical patient to go into a doctor's office is very hard. So that's been a benefit with the pandemic for medical patients, to be able to see a doctor without seeing a doctor. And then now everything is online. The process, or the website, Illinois Department of Public Health, they just updated the website back in July of this year. So a lot of issues, a lot of hiccups happen, but I think we're catching our stride and we're able to safely and accurately process applications now. Online, everything is full. And then also with receiving your card, there is no actual card anymore. There will be only provisional letters.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, no one has a printer, but I think they're going to have a way for patients to show access to it to the dispensaries, and then dispensaries will have it in their system.
Cool.
That part is still a little unknown to me, but I'm getting into the day-to-day process of it. But I still have my card. I say, if you have your medical cannabis card, keep it, show it, flaunt it. I show it at, the grocery store. I show it when I go out, for cocktails. I show it everywhere. I have my
card.
Yeah, this is what I have. This is me. Hey, it's a government issued license ID. So you can definitely show it and flaunt it.
I want to hear first, how do you serve the plant? I named so many ways, but let's take it back. So how did you get into the bud tending?
Getting into bud tending was quite difficult at first. A lot of what was unknown was very tough. And because I was already working 10 plus years in healthcare, it was very hard for me to make that shift into cannabis, because you just didn't know what was going to happen, if these laws were going to be active, were we all going to get shut down by the feds. You didn't know. So
I would say, like, from my perspective and being in healthcare, it's like you have this authority in that realm, and things are much more fluid, and you have to be very careful with your word choices in cannabis, because of course
you
how
can
it
run
is.
the risk. Yeah, you can run the risk. And I never try or to pretend to be a doctor or cannabis nurse, none of that. There is no actual license to be a cannabis nurse, but I pull from my knowledge of being a home health aide, as well as being a certified nursing assistant and ER tech, so that I'm able to use my knowledge from the medical world, and it transfers quite easily to cannabis, because everything that we're doing, if you look at it as medical cannabis, is medically based.
Right.
If you're using it fun, recreationally, enjoying the time out, yes, that's a different vibe. But for patients who are seeking this medicine, and I say that in its full, force, medicine, you have to recognize that the healthcare world, whether you be of the pharmaceutical, whether you be of the Catholic established hospitals, which I work for both, needs to recognize that cannabis can intertwine and can work together despite the differences and despite the history of where the process of all this has came. So I love using my healthcare background with cannabis. My mother's a nurse, my father's a caregiver, so we always are a healthcare family, and I've always driven and focused my goals and my journey with that.
And what was your training like to become a bud tender?
Yeah, so a lot of the training I did was behind the scenes. First and foremost, before I even, put my resume out there, I got certified, which
With
is
who?
hemp staff.
Okay.
So they are national, and they have a license program where, at the time, because cannabis was fairly new in Illinois, we didn't know what you needed to be a bud tender. Did I need my medical license? Did I need an actual certification? So hemp staff was a way for me to kind of get my feet in the door. But it's not actually what got me through to become a bud tender. So after doing the process and, going through the interview, speaking with a lot of management and ownership, a lot of them said it was my medical background that got me the job. Knowing that the program first was a medical program, they wanted someone on hand to be able to kind of ease up, everyone's overthinking or over processed thoughts of Cheech and Chong and
Right.
everyone just blazing fat joints. Like,
Okay, well, I want to speak to this because I think that's where there's so much opinion around bud tenders, and I value everyone's contribution to the industry. And I also, from this medical standpoint, think it's very important that the people talking to you about your cannabis know what's up. And so just can you
yes.
speak to the variation of bud tenders? Because I'm all for them. I love
Yes.
all of you on the front lines. And then some people come in and they have a problem. They're like, they don't know this from this. And of course, there's no standard, I guess.
No,
And
there's
it's really that
absolutely
personal responsibility that I'm hearing you
not.
speak to. And I applaud that. So can you share a bit about that side of things?
Yeah, so there is nothing that will stamp you or certify you as a bud tender in Illinois, at least. It is job per job. So if I get a job at Columbia Care, I go through their training, I go through their information, I go through all of their stuff. If I get a job at Consume Cannabis, I go through their training, I go through there's nothing across the board that says you're a bud tender, similar to you're stamped as a nail technician. If you're a nail technician in the state of Illinois, then you're a nail technician. That's your license. As a bud tender, I can be a bud tender at one dispensary, but I could not be a bud tender at another dispensary. It doesn't cross. It doesn't, you can only be at one spot. So that in itself does cause a lot of differences, because certain corporate cannabis companies train and teach different things. And it is very much up to the bud tender. It is up to us as industry workers to take it upon ourselves, the responsibility that I have, everyone should have. If you are going to recommend products that you have never used, if you are going to encourage a brand that you've never medicated with, then what are you doing? How can you do that to someone?
It's just like so interesting because there's like this aspect of loyalty to the one company, and then you were speaking just before the call, we were speaking about just terms, because bud tender, it's not something that everyone likes to utilize. But you were also speaking that sometimes they're hiring now and posting that position as sales rep, and so you get into this area of cannabis just being a commodity that's being sold and not focused on as medicine.
Yeah, and because Illinois is very rigid, we are very restricted in how the plant makes it to the patient and the whole process. So everything is grown indoor in Illinois. in the Midwest in general, because of climate control and all these other issues. Everything is indoor. Everything is grown outside in the cultivation center, not in a dispensary. The dispensary is where the bud tenders are. And a lot of people would get on us because, as a bud tender, because we weren't actually tending to buds. This was, you know, because think about it in California. Think about it in, Oregon, where you have these big mason jars full, and I can grab how many eighths or how many quarters you need. And I'm able to see everything. You can't do that in Illinois. Everything is child-proof, sealed, vacuum sealed. You just can't physically tend to the buds. And
Wow.
legally, yes,
I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of, OGs, patients that have been around since in medical cannabis world for a lot of years, and that have came from other states or have visited other states that have that was always our pushback. And for me, the word, the label bud tender, I wear it like a badge of armor.
Yes.
I embrace it because I know that regardless of who you see or what if you know that I'm a bud tender, you know exactly what I'm about to tell you.
Mm-hmm. You know what's up.
You know what's up. I'm about to hook you all the way up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that term to me is great. I enjoy it. I embrace it. I'm not a sales rep at any point in time because, and I'll say this wholeheartedly as a medical patient, there are no brands that do everything good across the board. I'll say it again for the people in the back. There is no brand in Illinois that does everything good across the board. And as a patient, I utilize, and how I encourage patients is utilize different product categories. Mm-hmm. If today you can smoke a joint, great. Tomorrow I'm gonna be with my family, so I can't smoke, so I'll vape. Mm-hmm. And I have an 8-hour shift that I have to do, on Wednesday. I can't take smoke breaks, so I'm gonna eat my edible, mm-hmm. and hopefully it holds me off, Mm-hmm. So I can't say that if I worked for Ascend that I would be able to recommend all of their products because I really don't like their carts.
Yeah, and you have that background, that personal connection. Yeah,
so I encourage, people who are at those registers and bud tenders in the industry continue using that word bud tender because it has respect behind it. It has integrity behind it. Whether you're tending to buds in the field or in a cultivation, or whether you're grabbing a jar from a Ziploc bag.
You're representing the plant.
Yeah. And you're helping people. You mm-hmm. are helping people. That is the part that people don't understand, and that people that don't get the industry and that hate on us because we left our jobs and now we just want to do a smoke weed and do drugs. No. We want to help people. It may not be the cookie cutter form of what you think healing or medicine is, mm-hmm. but this is how I'm doing it. And this is how I want to contribute to the world. Healing people, not hurting anybody. I'm not hurting anybody.
And here's the thing, like I want to talk about Flores de Familia because so much of this is the educational aspect.
Yes, big time. So Flores de Familia is, my new journey, my new door that I'm walking through. Mm. And it is my way to educate that, I made sure that early on in this journey that my, main thing was advocacy. That's what I want to do. I want to be an advocate, encouraging and educating people through, whether it's events or seminars or videos, TikToks, whatever it is, I just want to put that energy out there and put that word out there. So that's where Flores de Familia started and came up with.
And how's it going?
It has been going great. It's definitely, um, Chucky Waters first, making sure that everything is, dot your I's and cross your T's.
Mm.
But I find that my relationships that I have and my bonds that I already have being in the industry since 2016, 2015, I have been able to lean on people and work with others that share my same mindset and encourage me in so many ways. I find that if you surround yourself with great people, great things will happen because you're in that space, you're in that energy, and you just feel that vibe, and nothing can go wrong.
What I wanted to circle back to is hearing how you have witnessed cannabis heal your community. Because at the beginning of the call, you're talking
Yeah.
about war on drugs, which is, still happening, but, the thick of it and watching this all around you. And now with cannabis coming in and with you being the connect and that open channel,
Yes.
how's it shifting now?
I have lived in Chicago, Illinois for my whole life. And, growing up, seeing where the communities have come and how far we are coming when it comes to cannabis is just amazing. It is a testament to the city, it is a testament to the people and the progression of what our mindset is, to think. So I grew up, like I said, in Little Village, Pilsen area, seeing and hearing that the Herbal Care Center on Western Ogden was going to open. I was excited. I was just in shock that the city was that open and progressive and being able to have it not only on the corner, but with big signs. So it was really great to be able to see that. On the flip side, seeing that a lot of the industry and seeing that a lot of people working in the industry, management, ownership, did not look like my community.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big eye opener. A big eye opener. And I saw it even before I got in. I saw it at my interview,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that at that moment, if I was going to make this happen, if I was going to make this being cannabis happen in my community and be a voice, I knew that I was not going to straighten my hair. I was not going to, change who I am or do anything to alter who my community can look to, because I want to be that person. I want to be that image for people to be like, yo, if Amanda can do it, I'm going to do it too. If
Mm-hmm.
she can be a mom, if she can work, if she can dance for hours and be a person, tax paying person in the society, why can't I do it?
Yeah. We need
Encourage.
those examples and those like role models, those tangible examples of what can be.
Yeah. And a lot of family members have walked away. A lot of friends have walked away from myself, from my family, from my kids. And it's the fear of the unknown, and it's the fear of what they've been conditioned to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and, being that I am someone who I don't hide who I am. You get what you get, what you get.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wear cannabis on my sleeve, on my heart. And at any given time, I don't care if I'm at the grocery store, I don't care if I'm with my family, you're going to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
If I see someone struggling, if I know that maybe you shouldn't take that next glass of wine, ma, or maybe, you shouldn't go out and get plastered drunk. Like, why would I not want to help and heal others and be that positive image and be that positive person
Show them
in my
another
community?
option. Yeah.
Yeah. And then working with others have been amazing, experience. So working with people in the community like Tiffany from Soul and Wellness, who has, a beautiful space in the middle of Pilsen, to think that this was the same community that used barricades, that use militarized the police
Mm.
in order to get drug dealers off of the street. People were getting sentenced, federally felon sentence in the 90s for a joint.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lost, I had so many friends lose their fathers to the war on drugs. They were being incarcerated. And, it was painful as a kid to know why your friend isn't in school because his house got raided yesterday.
Damn, like I have chills.
It's real. And as a mother, as someone in the community, I don't want to see that continuous, that cycle in our communities. We can't. That is something that we have to break. So whether I break that cycle within myself, within my family, within my, kids, but I want to see that cycle broken for others. I don't want to see someone going, losing their child over cannabis. I don't want to see someone losing their job over cannabis. Like, this is not okay. And this is where, laws, legislation, and working with others to bring awareness to that. No, we're not all Cheech and Chong, Cypress Hill, burners, smoking joints. Not all the time. Sometimes,
Not all the time. We can turn it on.
Yeah. But to see the contrast, because there is that image, and there is that, content, whether you look at it good or bad or indifferent, it's out there. But there's always more. And that's the
part. But your answer is advocacy and the representation and like, getting into
be different. I tell my kids all the time, be different. Don't be the same cookie cutter things that you see. Be different.
What's the question that you get asked the most about cannabis, and what's your answer?
Wow, a lot of my questions are definitely parent questions.
Yes.
I get a lot of parents that come to me and they say, how do you talk to your kids about cannabis? And a lot of what I tell them is my personal experiences. Be honest. Be honest, because your kids can see through you.
I'm nodding.
Better than you can see through yourself. Yes, you're nodding. Yes. Be honest. Just be honest, and being honest and letting your loved ones, especially your children, understand that, yes, mommy is in pain today, but I'm able to have fun. I'm able to run and go play in the park because of mommy's medicine, because of cannabis. And there opens the door, opens the pathway to so many conversations. A lot of what my children know, and they're 6 years apart, so the conversations are very different from my teenager to my, youngest. And to make them so aware of what medicine is and how it's healing mom. Now they're using it in their own way, their knowledge, of cannabis. My youngest, she'll smell cannabis in the air and, mommy, is that your medicine? Yes, that's mommy's medicine.
That's so potent.
Yes, and she gets it and she'll just, okay, run and go play.
I love these children that we're raising so much. They're so sweet. And what you spoke to with the honesty is so important. Like, so much of our pain and dark is in the dark, is from being hidden away. So first of all, like, hiding that you might be in pain, and then hiding how you deal with the pain. But it's like, okay, I'm just being honest with you.
Right.
And this is totally medicine.
Take away the scary boogeyman.
Yes.
What we don't know, the unknown. And that's what fear is. Fear is of the unknown. Take that away, to the point where if someone offers, this happened to my teenager back in 7th grade, I got the email, from school, someone vaping in the bathroom. This was in the middle of the whole vaping problem where, so I got that email and I was at work in the dispensary. And first thing I thought was, please don't let it be Mia. Please don't let it be my kid.
Yeah,
You know, you
about
get
this.
that in the you know, and you always get that in the back of your head. You know, just don't let it be my kid that pulled the fire alarm. Whatever it is. And you know, got home after a long shift, but I wanted to have the conversation with them at the time. And I asked them, I said, Mia, can you tell me about what happened? And oh no, mom, those were eighth graders. You know, at the time they were in sixth grade. So those were eighth graders. And I was like, oh, okay, so tell me what happened. I know you've heard the chisme or the gossip. So they told me, and I asked them, I said, okay, well, hypothetically, if you were in the bathroom with the eighth graders and they offered you, you know, vape, what would you have done? They looked at me straight faced and said, no, mom, I'm not a medical patient.
Respect.
Like that was the biggest, like, I still pat myself on the back for that. Okay. You know, and then that opened up the conversation and they told me, you know, I don't know what the strain is. I don't know where they got it from. I don't know whose mouth's been on it.
Hey.
All things that I have told them over the years, all things that I had subliminally hinted to them, it came out. It came out. And as a parent, sometimes it's a very thankless job. Right. It's a job. You know, but you don't get the thank yous, the hugs, the I love you, mommy, all the time. You don't. But in those moments, and you get them, and you know that you've done something. You've shifted the total future of your child just on conversation.
And the ripple effect.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. And it's a beautiful thing to know, like, where the future can be with education, with knowledge, and just with talking. Just talk. You know, that's what I asked. Just talk to me.
Totally. You go, mom.
Go, Canna Mom.
All right. So for the people that are wondering, where do I start with cannabis? What are your favorite resources to recommend?
Favorite resources are always going to be Leafly. It's a wonderful search engine, and that is always the best way for me to look up strains, information, education. And that helped me as a bud tender to learn a lot about different things. So leafly.com, there's apps, there's websites, it's beautiful. As well as locally, I enjoy being able to get in the community and find people that are doing things that are connected with, you know, the energy and with cannabis and cannabis forward energy, and especially being a woman of color, and understanding that we are very underrepresented in the cannabis world, whether it be anywhere. So I love people that are here in Chicago. So I want to give a couple of them a shout out. Tiffany from Soul and Wellness in Pilsen. They do certifications for adults and minor patients. I do consultations there as well. And they do great events. They have growing events, stretching, growing, education, and outreach in the community, which is amazing. So Tiffany and Soul and Wellness, as well as Cannabella Lux on the north side in the Lincoln Square area. Tiffany, a different Tiffany, has a wonderful space in Lincoln Square. It is a femme forward cannabis boutique. They have wonderful clothes, dab rigs that are beautiful in color, pinks and purple, very femme forward, you know, things that we all need when we medicate. So it's beautiful space. Illinois Women in Cannabis, a wonderful resources and beautiful people that are well connected into the industry and want to help with legislation, and wonderful energy and support. That's a big thing. Support of each other, especially in this industry. On the broader scale, of course, definitely looking at like Wanda James in Colorado, which is amazing. Burner in California, a wonderful like blueprint for me as a new business owner. I look to someone like Berner as how you can get from, being underground to being legit and just exploding. I definitely follow their careers. I follow what moves that they make, and trying to definitely business wise understand how I can not only take my advocacy, my education, my knowledge, and then turn that into a multi, state, multi-business that is just thriving through my passion, through the energy, and through the plant, through cannabis.
You are so doing that. Let's talk about where the people can find you.
Yes, well, definitely social media is my best. Flores de Familia. I'm on Instagram, and also my personal page, Advocacy Amanda 420, is my page. You can find a lot of information about my history, my journey in the cannabis world, and what I do. I also have a website under construction, but that will be going soon. I'll be doing some more events and kicking off some things for the fall and the winter time. We definitely want to do some more educational events, getting some more mixers.
Do you still do get a card type things, or is that more of a one-on-one situation now?
Now it has, with COVID and the pandemic, it turned into being more of a one-on-one, and being able to personally help walk people through the process. So I do in-person and telemedicine consultations, and that can be, an hour, 30 minutes, just kind of getting the paperwork together and getting everything started. Or it can be, in person at Soul and Wellness or Cannabella Lux. And I've also helped, this has been amazing service that I've done, is helping people walk through the process at a dispensary.
That's dope.
Yes.
That's dope.
It is. So I had a couple people reach out to me so far, and it has been amazing. So they told me that, there was actually a fear of the dispensary, the fear of the unknown. Yeah. Not knowing what to expect, are there going to be a bunch of, bros in there? Are there going to be a bunch of smoke clouds? Like, you just don't know until you walk through the door of a dispensary. And every dispensary is different. Everybody has different vibe and music. So I like to bring, patients, especially, people who have used medical cannabis before, but maybe haven't done it on their own or purchased on their own. That was a big thing for me, was when I first got into, medicating, it was always given to me by someone, whether I was dating them or relationship. And then when we broke up or when we got angry or when we fought, that was the first thing they would take away from me.
Oh, wow. And
I'm like,
I need to know how to do this myself.
Right. And a lot of the plugs per se were men. And a lot of them had different intentions other than taking my money. So being a source, a female for a femme forward source to people to feel comfortable with, I hear that a lot. Yes. I feel more comfortable speaking to a woman about my endometriosis than I do with a 20-year-old man.
Yeah.
So that comfortability, I definitely aim to make people feel comfortable going to a dispensary, because it is a safe space. It really is, despite what people feel or what has happened in dispensaries. For me, it's probably one of the safest spaces that I've been in, because it is surveillance constantly. There are, people there always, which can be good and bad. But there is always security on hand. You cannot open the doors at a Illinois dispensary without having at least one security guard. So I feel safe, and with seeing more women behind the counters at dispensaries, it makes me feel even more safe, because I know
some women.
Yes, let's get all the women and budtenders in. Let's go. So walking people through that process has been amazing, and I feel like I'm empowering them to use them, not only to use medical cannabis, but just to be empowered, just to feel that energy and to know that you have that power. You, not me, not anybody else. You have that. If you want to smoke a joint, smoke a joint.
Yep.
If you want to rub a lotion on your ankles because they hurt after your workout, rub away. There is no one out there that can tell you when, how, or what to medicate with. It is your choice. It is your body. It is your medicine.
Yes. Thank you so much, Amanda.
You're welcome.
I'm feeling jazzed. I'm ready to get it today. It's
Let's
Sunday.
go.
I'm reared up and ready to go.
Let's go.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge and your experience. Is there anything you want to leave with the listeners today?
I definitely want to thank you very much, Tori, for hosting this, for allowing me to share, and for giving all budtenders, all cannabis industry workers a voice. I want to leave you and your listeners with peace, with love, with healing vibes, and please make sure you medicate.
Thank you so much for tuning in to 6 Degrees from Cannabis. If you connected with this episode, please share it with a friend who would benefit from hearing it too. Tap the subscribe button to be notified when the next 6 Degrees episode is released. You can find more information about holistic healing, the Follow Your Heart Oracle deck, and what I do by visiting ToriRerick.com. If you message us on Instagram at 6 Degrees from Cannabis, we'll be sure to message you back. Bliss be with you.